Naomi Osaka and Emma Raducanu. Are these two players the dark horses of the ladies' draw? And more tantalizingly, can one of them go all the way, do you think?
Well, we talk about loving a big question. I'm a big fan of both of these players. So firstly, I'll say it's great to see that they are playing at a level that we know that they can play at, that they have played at before, and they're rediscovering that form because it's not easy to get back up to the top. It's not easy to rediscover the form from 3 years ago or the form pre-maternity leave. We've seen Osaka on the tour now for quite a while. We've seen Raducanu coming back from those 3 surgeries that she had for quite a while, and we've got glimpses, but they haven't put it together. So when I'm answering this question, I obviously believe they can do it because they've done it before. And I think that's something that's so important when it comes to some of these challenging moments that you can take that sort of comfort in the fact you've done it. But at the same time, I also think that you have to want to be there. And I think what's great about this is they both really want to be there. There's been such a shift in the mentality from them both. They are grinding the wins out. They're doing whatever they have to do. They're winning ugly to get there. And actually, not that ugly in the case of Naomi Osaka, whose numbers have been great, hitting winners for fun, not many unforced errors. She's serving well. So I think both of them can do it. I think the nature of the draw might potentially mean that Osaka has a bit of a better shot just because of the matchups that she is facing in the next round. But in terms of who's been most impressive, I think you'd have to say Osaka, purely because of the fact that she's beaten two players she lost to at slams last year back to back. And Raducanu, we've got some question marks, but the caliber of the opponent, we haven't quite hit the heights of the players that Osaka's been beating.
I mean, let's talk about the caliber of opponents and start with Raducanu because yeah, she defeated Anisimova in round two. Now, I get your point on caliber. I will say that Anisimova, she's been to the fourth round of the Australian Open 3 times in her career, so she's got pretty good pedigree when it comes to Melbourne. So very decent result from Raducanu. Why do you think? Why do you think we're seeing this from Emma particularly? Do you think she's more motivated and has realised, as I say, like I need a fresh approach given, as I say, what happened last season, the lack of matches and the lack of play time that she got, and actually she needed to, yeah, take a long hard look at herself and change things up.
I'm not sure it's. I think she can look back at some decisions she's made and think, actually, maybe that wasn't the best decision to skip this or to not play that tournament or to focus all of my attention on Asia, then have to pull out of quite a lot of the Asian tournaments. So I think it doesn't necessarily need a long, hard look at the mirror. I think you just need to be honest with yourself about when you want to play and what you want to play for. And I think realizing that, you can't just play every now and then. And I think actually the Billie Jean King Cup results were really important to her, where she won 3 matches in straight sets. And she's actually gone on to win 2 more matches in straight sets, 5 matches in a row, straight sets wins. She's finding ways to get it done and closing out matches in straight sets, which was a bit of a problem for her before, especially after that US Open win. She was losing lots of matches, 7-5 in the third, having had chances to win in the second set of those matches. So I think that's a big change, that she's kind of more seasoned in that respect. I think also, as I said, like she said, she shouldn't be competing if she doesn't want to be there, like last year's clay season. So hopefully this season, very motivated, new fitness trainer. She's looking very fit out there and she can do some damage. I think with Osaka, the new coach, how much of a difference do you think Patrick Mouratoglou's made to the Osaka camp and the Osaka mentality?
Yeah, I do think that she is now, it's almost like a new lease of life. I feel like, she came back last season. It didn't necessarily go maybe how she planned. Maybe the expectation was too high and she thought like it's just easy to get back into the tour and start making waves. But I think the reality was the tour had moved on. It wasn't like it was when, she was on there kind of previously. And as a result of that, I think it kind of necessitated a different approach. And to bring someone on like Mouratoglou, who's been there, done that with, the creme de la creme really of women's tennis, I think is a very smart move. And I think they're seeing dividends from it, already. And I do agree with you. I think with Osaka, I do think that she looks the more dangerous in terms of how far she could go. at this Australian Open. I guess to me, there's one question on the fact that both her victories so far have been in 3 sets. So there's still a little bit of uncertainty, maybe a little bit of a wobble. But what do you think? Because I'm always like, is it a little bit like Madison Keys? Because Madison Keys, I'm like, oh, she's dropped a set, and I'm like, oh, she will always give you a little bit of a wobble, and I'm still waiting maybe for Osaka to show me no wobble, just coming through and winning emphatically with talent from start to end.
I think that's a really, really good point. But I would say, as the opponents she's played are very, very, very high ranked opponents and opponents who've been very high before. I mean, Mukova's made, really deep runs into slams previously, and on multiple occasions. So losing a set against someone of that level, you really can't read too much into that. I think it's just the fact it was a really tight match, but both played pretty well. And the same for the Garcia match, very high quality. I think straight sets victories at this point could actually be a bit more of a concern because you haven't tested yourself physically when it comes to that third set, especially for Raducanu, who has had physical issues previously. But I would say let's have a look at the matchups to see if that can give us a bit more of an indication as to how far we think they can go. Emma faces a player she's played 3 times and lost 3 times in former world number 1, Iga Swiatek. That's going to be a very interesting match. Probably the night session, you'd think, about St. Arthur Ashe on Rod Laver. Who is going to win that one? Will she have chances? And what does she have to do to get a win? And what does Iga have to do to shut down Emma?
Good question. And I actually think Emma Raducanu's got a shot here. I don't, these matches that, are in the head-to-head against Swiatek for Raducanu, that they came at times, I think, where Swiatek's level was higher, and also came on court surfaces, 2 of them in Stuttgart on clay, where there is a little bit of a difference. However, having said that, the way that Raducanu has come in, and has come in as the underdog, I think, in both her first round and her second round. Alexandrova, the seeded player, Anisimova, the higher ranked player, and she's just gone at them. No fear. I'm just going to do what I can do. And I just love that approach.
The swag, right? She's got a real sense that she's got that stride back.
That challenger swag. And I think if she can replicate that, I think we could be in for a very intriguing matchup. I guess I think also what might help is the fact that this will get put on, I'm anticipating, on a bigger court. Could be put even on, I wouldn't be surprised if it gets put on, Rod Laver Arena. And I do think that Raducanu elevates her game even more in those big match occasions. And I think, I feel like I need to stop short of saying this. I've got this on upset alert, but certainly I think Raducanu can cause Swiatek quite a few problems.
I think a lot of our listeners will maybe rolling their eyes when I say this, but I've got it on upset alert. I'm a big Raducanu.
Okay.
I think it will go 3 sets, and I think Raducanu will have a real chance. I think we could get Iga in a bit of trouble, but again, it could be like the Osaka match from the French Open. She's so good under those really intense moments of pressure. And for Osaka, she plays against another mum on the tour, Bencic, who's just returned, hasn't necessarily had that many matches back. She has taken out Ostapenko, and then she's also taken out an unseeded player in straight sets. So she's in great form, hasn't lost a set yet. Their head-to-head is in Bencic's favour, but what are you going to call here? I'm going to say that I think Osaka's going to come through this in straight sets. I think this will be her first straight sets victory. She's got a lot of firepower, and I'm not sure that necessarily Bencic has faced that yet in her comeback.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Osaka, but Bencic is playing well. I know she's unseeded and she's just coming back, whatever. But I do think she's a very tough competitor on her day. So we'll have to wait. We'll have to wait and see. I'm very, very intrigued though. 2 players who are definitely going through the draw and making some noise. Let's see if those noises get even bigger as the tournament unfolds.